On the world news tonight on BGI TV Current, I am Rabila Lawal. First are the major headlines. Tinubu commensurate with India over deadly train crash. Fuel subsidy. Tell Nigerians what you inherited from Buhari, Sheikh Hussaini speaks. FJ will fix date for national census, NPC. MATAWALLE purchased 2.79 billion naira vehicles. None is in government house. And on sports, Osimhen bags Serie A Best Striker Award for 2022-2023 session. Now the news in detail. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has sent a message of commiseration to the government and people of the Republic of India over a multiple train crash in the country, which killed over 280 passengers. The fatal crash involving two passengers train and a goods train in the Indian city of Balasore in the eastern state of Odisha occurred on Friday. Aside those killed, over 900 others were injured in what was one of the worst rail crashes in recent history. Tinubu, in a statement by his media aide Abdulaziz, on Saturday morning described the train accident as heart-rending while consoling the Indian government and families of the victim. My heart goes to the families of those affected in the fortunate and heart-rending train crash in the Indian city and state of Odisha. I send my deepest sympathy and condolences to the Excellency Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the people of India and the families of those trapped in the crash, the president was quoted as saying. Going on to the next story. Former lawmaker Sheikh Hussaini has urged President Bola Tinubu to keep aside party solidarity and tell the country the truth about what he inherited from elsewhere President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. Sani claimed it was unfair to ask poor Nigerians to make sacrifices without knowledge of details of what happened under the last administration. The social critics' demands were contained in a post via his verified Twitter handle on Saturday morning. The Tinubu government must set aside polity and party solidarity and tell the country the truth about what they inherited as contained in the handover book. It's unfair to ask the poor masses to make sacrifices without knowing the details of what happened under the last administration, Sani tweeted. His statement is coming on the heels of the removal of fuel subsidy by the Tinubu government with its consequent hike in the pump price of petroleum products across the country. Meanwhile, the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) had also issued threats that its members nationwide would embark on strike next Wednesday if the government failed to revert to the status quo. The National Population Commission (NPC) has said a new date for the national census was yet to be fixed, but it would be done by the federal government. NPC said it focused to ensure that all resources expended are safeguarded ahead of the 2023 population and housing census in the country. Mr. Darlington Okereke, NPC's federal commissioner in Ebonyi, said this at one-day breakfast meeting for media executive on Friday in Abakaliki. Okereke said safeguard was necessary to avoid starting preparations all over when a new date is fixed. We also gathered to enlighten you on the next step forward in the light of the postponement of the conduct by the former president, he added. The commissioner noted that it had carried out all the preparatory activities towards the census exercise, including the enumeration area demarcation, EAD, and conduct of pre-test and trial census amongst others. We have conducted all of requirement and trained census field staff. The most important task before the commission is to sustain and reinforce the relevance of these activities to the successful conduct of the 2023 census. This will ensure the nation does not have to start afresh the preparations, thereby saving costs. The commission has laid a solid foundation for the future census, Okereke stated. From census story, we go to Zamfara State, according to the outgoing governor. Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal has alleged that his predecessor, Bello Matawalli, spent money on vehicles and failed to leave them behind upon his exit from office last Monday. The governor's senior special assistant on media and publicity, Suleiman Bala Idris, in a statement on Saturday, said a contract awarded by former governor for the purchase of vehicles to be distributed to dignitaries and other ministries, departments, and agencies (MDAs) was not remitted. It added that a contract for the purchase of the vehicles was awarded to AFCAD Properties and Facilities Management Nigeria Limited. He also alleged that the money was spent on 3 bulletproof Jeep and the money for 7 sets of bulletproof Prado Jeep and Land Cruiser, and money also for 7 Toyota Hilux. The governor further said money was paid for 30 sets of Peugeot 406, for 1 bulletproof Land Cruiser, and another money for 2 Land Cruiser Jeeps, while 3 vehicles were purchased for a certain amount of money for the office of the deputy governor. It is the height of indignity for the Zamfara APC to continue to fizzle at a time when all the above officials' vehicles were looted by the outgone governor and his associate, the statement read. None of the vehicles is available in the government's house. This is a show of shame, not only to the state chapter of the APC, but to anyone justifying the action of MATAWALLE. From Zamfara State story, we go to Adamawa State. Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri of Adamawa State has charged stakeholders of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) over his second-term appointment. In a tweet on Saturday, he warned that he would not accept any list that did not measure up to standard. He vowed to reject any mechanical fabricated list for political appointment, claiming that the party stakeholders disregarded his earlier directives to present their best 11 for political appointment through proper consultations with their constituents. While stating that he would ensure everybody is carried along for a proper representation, Fintiri maintained that any list that did not meet the criteria or instructions he previously laid down would be rejected. It is essential to ensure that everybody is carried along for a proper representation, and the list has said. Information reported that Fintiri was re-elected after a tough battle with his All Progressive Congress APC rival, Senator Aisha Dahiru, aka Binani. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) declared the March 18 Adamawa governorship election as inconclusive. After the election was declared inconclusive, INEC fixed April 15 for the conduct of the supplementary election. On April 15, the supplementary election was concluded in Adamawa State. However, controversy ensued at the collation of the supplementary election results after Udu Yunusa Ari, the resident electoral commission (REC) in the state, declared Binari winner of the election. The action of the REC sparked controversy as INEC suspended the collation exercise and asked Yusuf and Yunusa Ari to stay away from office. On April 18, Fintiri was finally declared winner of the state governorship election. From Adamawa State, we go to Kano State. Governor Abba Yusuf of Kano State has directed the immediate demolition of illegal structures erected at the race course and some identified public places in the metropolis. This is contained in a statement by his press secretary, Bature Dafintowa, on Saturday. Mr. Yusuf assured the present administration's commitment to restoring the glory of the state by reclaiming all encroached public land and properties used to erect illegal structures by private individuals or group. He explained that the structures erected in schools, mosques, public playgrounds, graveyards, markets, and hospitals will be demolished to ensure strict adherence to the urban planning, beautification, and safety of the people. These places are meant for public use. It is therefore disheartening to witness the incessant destruction and conversion of public places that are used to render social services by unpatriotic citizens. We shall bring an end to land grabbing and the indiscriminate erection of illegal structures in the state, he said. From Kano State to Katsina. The Katsina State Revenue Services (KRS) has given banks and other agencies in the state a 2-week ultimatum to remit tax collected on behalf of the state government or face the wrath of the law. The Executive Director of Katsina Revenue Service (KRS), Alhaji Sirajo Mohammed, and the company of his team disclosed this to newsmen when they visited the defaulters in their offices within the state capital. Sirajo, who said the accumulated debt is over 1 billion naira, noted that some of the defaulters are owing the state over 500 million naira. Consequently, the KRS team placed notices of non-compliance at strategic locations within the premises of the defaulters to draw the attention of the general public to the development. They have deducted government money and have not remitted to the government. We have been on this issue for quite some time now. We have met and sat with them, but they have refused to come up with their payments. In your interest, it is better you don't deal with them. We are giving them a period of 2 weeks within which to come forward and settle their outstanding liabilities, failure of which will result in recovery options without further recourse to these allegations and organizations. From Katsina State, we go to Oyo State. The sacked chairman of the disciplinary committee of the Park Management System, PMS, in Oyo State, Alhaji Mikaila Alamidi, said the police cannot declare him wanted. Better known as Auxiliary, Lamidi, who has been declared wanted by the police for alleged gun running, said Governor Seyi Makinde, governor remains his destiny helper. He added that he is committed to peace, noting that he would abide by whatever decision the governor takes on transport unions. Reacting to the allegations of violence allegedly perpetrated by his boys a few days ago in Ibadan, Auxiliary, who spoke on Saturday morning from his hideout on a live radio program in Ibadan, said he is a peace lover who could not have turned the state to a theater of war over the dissolution of the PMS by the government. On the position of the Oyo State Police that declared him wanted, Auxiliary said such declaration was not meant for him, adding that when I'm not a fool, how could I have hidden or stockpiled those weapons at my residence? He, however, warned his boys not to foment trouble or engage in any act of violence in Ibadan, another part of the state, saying they should desist from such plans. The former PMS boss added that no individual, no matter how highly influential he or she is bigger than government. He spoke glowingly about Governor Makinde and his ally, Tuba Sheyi Famojuro, declaring that both are his benefactors. Auxiliary, however, promised to comply and cooperate with the reform and integration of other driver units in the PMS, stating that if the new reform doesn't favor him, he would accept the outcome. From Oyo State, we go to the foreign story. At least 288 people were killed and hundreds more injured in a theater train collision in India. Officials said Saturday the country's deadliest rail accident in more than 20 years. Wreckage's debris was piled high at crash site near Balsore in the eastern state of Odisha, where some carriages had been tossed far from the tracks and others flipped over entirely. Smashed train compartments were torn open in the impact late on Friday, leaving blood-stained holes in their sides. Rescue workers searches for survivors amid damages carriage at the accident site of a train collision near Basore, about 200 kilometers from the state capital, Bhubaneswar, in the eastern state of Odisha on June 3, 2023. Survivor Arjun Das told a Bengali television channel he heard a thundering sound, then saw people falling from upper berth. He jumped out of the train. People were screaming, shouting for help, he said. There were injured lying everywhere inside coaches and along the tracks. I want to forget the scenes. Rescue workers and military personnel gathered around damaged carriages at the accident site of a train collision near Balsore, about 200 kilometers from the state capital in the eastern state of Odisha on third day in the month of June. Before the end of the world news today, here comes the sports story. Napoli striker Victor Osimhen has won the Best Striker Award for the 2023-2022 Serie A session. The Serie A made an announcement on Friday saying the striker fended off competition from Lautaro Martinez of Inter Milan and AC Milan's Rafael Leao of AC Milan to scoop the prize. The Nigerian bagged the award, having scored 25 league goals this time, 4 more than his closest rival Martinez, with just 1 game to go. Osimhen is the best striker of the 2022-2023 Serie A season. Information also said the Super Eagles forward emerged as a top striker, having led Napoli to its 4th Serie A crown since 1989-1990 session. That was the club's 3rd domestic title after previously winning in its 1987. The 24-year-old player is on the verge of emerging as the first African to finish as a top scorer in Serie A. He had earlier broken George Weah's record for the most goals scored by an African in a Serie A when he netted his 47th goal. But Osimhen was not the only Napoli player to have made headlines on Friday. Another player of the season in the Serie A, his striker partner Vicar Varepsis was named Serie A player of the season. The Georgian scored 12 goals and had 10 assists in the league season. Overall, he got 14 strikes and 10 assists in 42 games in the current campaign. Another Napoli star, Kim Min-jae, emerged as the best defender, while Lazio Ivan Provedel claimed the best goalkeeper prize. Inter Milan's Nicole Barella won the best midfielder crown. Well, the sports story will end the world news from BGI TV current this hour. Before we go, some major headline. Tinubu commensurate with India over deadly train crash. Fuel subsidy. Tell Nigerians what you inherited from Buhari. Shehu Sani speaks. FG will fix date for national census NPC. On sports, Osimhen bags Serie A Best Striker Award for 2022-2023. Thank you for watching. For more updates of our broadcast on YouTube, our handle is BGI TV Current. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access our broadcast. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawi Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and functions, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen for advert placements only. Thank you for watching. I am Maurire Rabila Lawal. Good evening.